All right, let's jump right in. Every single second, there are these countless, totally invisible conversations happening right under our noses. I'm talking about all the data just zipping across our networks. Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain and take a peek into that invisible world with a tool that, honestly, lets you see everything: Wireshark.
So what's your computer really saying to the internet? What information is flying back and forth when you just visit a simple website? These aren't just abstract questions anymore. With the right tool, you can get some very real, very concrete answers.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with what Wireshark actually is and how it works its magic. Then, we'll quickly run through the installation essentials before diving into how you can start decoding your network secrets. And finally, we'll see exactly how this tool becomes your secret weapon in your cybersecurity labs.
So what even is Wireshark? Honestly, the best way to think about it is as a microscope, but for your network. It lets you zoom way in on the tiniest little components of your digital traffic and see them in just incredible detail. Its official name is a packet analyzer, and that's exactly what it does. It intercepts the data flowing on your network live as it's happening and lets you pull any single packet out of that stream to see exactly what's inside, from the lowest level hardware stuff all the way up to the actual data.
Wireshark's job really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, it captures the raw data, snatching it right off your network hardware. Next, it decodes all that jumbled up data, translating it into protocols we can actually understand, like HTTP for websites. And finally, it displays everything with some seriously powerful tools to help you filter through the noise and find exactly what you're looking for.
Okay, so how does it actually see all of this traffic? This isn't just some simple log file. It's actively listening to everything that goes by. Let's pull back the curtain and see how the magic happens.
The real key to Wireshark's superpower is something called promiscuous mode. See, normally, your computer's network card just ignores any data that isn't specifically addressed to it. But when you flip on promiscuous mode, it grabs every single packet it sees on the network. Doesn't matter if it's for you, your roommate, or your smart toaster. It sees it all.
Now, Wireshark doesn't do this all by itself. It's powered by some heavy-duty software libraries working in the background. On Linux and macOS, you've got a library called libcap. And on Windows, it's ncap. These are really the engines doing the hard work of talking to the network hardware and grabbing all that raw data.
Okay, so capturing everything can get really noisy really fast. That's why Wireshark has 2 kinds of filters, and you've got to know the difference. First are display filters. These are for analysis. You apply them after you've already captured the data to just hide the stuff you don't care about. But then there are capture filters. These are for when you're on a super busy network. You apply them before you start capturing to tell Wireshark, hey, don't even bother saving anything that isn't web traffic. It keeps your files small and focused from the get-go.
So, ready to get your hands dirty? Let's talk installation. It's pretty straightforward, and we'll just cover the essentials for the 3 main platforms you're probably going to be using.
All right, the install process is pretty painless. On Kali Linux, it's a simple apt install, but, and this is critical, don't forget to add your user to the Wireshark group. For Windows, just use the official installer. It'll handle the ncap driver for you. And on a Mac, Homebrew is by far the easiest way. Just be ready to approve the Chmod BPF helper it needs to install.
Just keep those key steps in mind for whatever system you're on, and you'll be up and running in no time.
So once you start capturing, you're going to be faced with this massive wall of information. But this is where Wireshark really shines. It's like a universal translator, turning all those raw network signals into a language we can actually read and make sense of.
You know that OSI model you've been learning about in class? Well, this is where it stops being theory and becomes 100% real. Wireshark maps everything directly to it. You can literally see the Ethernet header at layer 2, the IP address at layer 3, the TCP port at layer 4, and then right at the top, the actual HTTP request at layer 7. It's all there in a single packet.
Yeah, when you see all those layers stacked up in Wireshark, it's kind of like reading a story. Each layer adds a new piece of the puzzle, where it came from, where it's going, how it's getting there, and what it's trying to do. Wireshark lets you read that story from start to finish.
So why is this so important for your cybersecurity classes? Simple. Wireshark is pretty much the #1 tool for taking all that theory and putting it into practice. It's how you're going to see, analyze, and prove the attacks and protocols you're learning about.
Let's take a classic lab assignment, sniffing out an ARP spoofing attack. That's Address Resolution Protocol, by the way. An attacker uses it to secretly redirect traffic between 2 devices. So how would you even know what's happening?
Well, you'd hunt for the evidence in Wireshark.
So what are the clues? You might see a flood of ARP replies that nobody even asked for, a classic sign of an attacker trying to poison the network's address book. Or you might spot two different IP addresses, both claiming to have the same physical MAC address, which should be impossible. These are the digital fingerprints of an attack, and Wireshark makes them plain as day.
And really, it goes way beyond just ARP spoofing. You're going to use Wireshark for everything. Following a TCP stream to see a login attempt in plain text, analyzing how your computer gets an IP address with DNS and DHCP, or even watching the probes from a vulnerability scanner as it feels out the network.
And just remember, because Wireshark decodes protocols across all 7 layers of that network stack, it gives you the complete picture. From the physical wire all the way up to the application you're using, nothing can hide. It's an absolutely comprehensive tool.
Look, the constant chatter on your network isn't just random noise. It's a rich, detailed conversation, and it's full of clues, secrets, and stories. The only question is, now that you know how, are you ready to start listening?